today. Welcome to Eggtoberfest, 50 years of Big Green Egg, fun in the sun, drinks, wine, deliciousness, and you are in the right place to be, because we got this tall fella. He's not an NBA player. He is a cook and one of Big Green Egg's team's finest, Craig C-Mac, and he's going to be making, give it up to C-Mac, yeah? C-Mac. And C-Mac, introduce yourself to the people and tell them what you're going to be making today.
Absolutely. So, as Dave said, my name's Craig. Everybody calls me C-Mac. It's old basketball nickname. So, let's get this out of the way first. I'm 6'10". Yes, I played basketball. The weather's fine up here, all right? So, we can move on to the food.
He's wearing stilts.
That's right.
For you.
David said there's a little hole in the stage right here. Never mind. All right, so we're gonna be doing a little chicken. So let me, by show of hands, who has cooked a whole chicken spatchcock style?
It's family audience, sir. You don't say stash, C-word. Stash, C-word, chicken.
No. We gotta wake this crowd up. They're a little quiet.
Okay, go ahead.
So all right, here we go.
Go ahead.
So from this side over here, you guys on the count of 3 are gonna yell spatch. Now never mind. Let's
keep it PG, my friend. Spatch, C-word.
I'll never get invited again. So
say it real fast.
Yeah. So anybody ever done spatchcock chicken or know what spatchcock is?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So we got a few. So basically, spatchcock chicken. So we've got our nice little whole bird here. We're talking about cooking a whole bird, and there's many ways of doing it, right? Just like a turkey. Whoever cooked a turkey for Thanksgiving or whatever else, there's about 1 million ways to cook these birds. Spatchcock is basically you're cutting out the backbone of the bird and laying it flat, okay? So what does it do? It allows you to cook more evenly, allows the breasts and the thighs and the dark meat to basically come up at the same time. They will be 2 different temperatures. You want them 2 different temperatures. But it allows that to come up at the same time. Makes that bird, if you guys have ever cooked briskets and you watch a real pro do brisket, the way they trim it in an aerodynamic shape. That's the same thing, the same concept that we're doing with the bird, because, listen, let's be honest. You ever seen a chicken fly? It's not the most aerodynamic bird in the world, right? So, but what it does, when we flatten that chicken out, it's able to cook that smoke and that heat and the convection that the Big Green Egg convects when we're doing it indirect. It's able to cook that bird. The smoke and the heat is able to get around it rather than sitting up maybe on a beer can or something.
So C-Mac, what are the advantages of doing spatchcock as opposed to the whole bird?
So really just kind of what I said, right? It cooks it evenly, cooks it quick, all right? We do, I just did 3 spatchcock chickens in about, well, under 90 minutes. Nice and even between the light meat and the dark meat. So you're not going to dry out the breast and have the dark meat, the only thing tasting good. Plus, when you're doing it for your friends and family, you kind of look like a chef, right? When you're basically butchering that bird. And it's a cool bird to say.
One of my favorite reasons also, whenever I'm eating any type of poultry, I like the crispy kind of charred bits, and you get more of that surface area exposed, get nice crispy notes, where everybody's not fighting over the crispy legs and wings. Every single part of that chicken is crisp and brown all throughout.
Yeah, and we're doing it indirect, and even doing it indirect, that skin does get nice and crispy, right? And again, you're doing it nice and aerodynamically, everything's crisping at the same time, we're not pulling off the skin, you're able to cut through it, and everybody's able to get that skin and the meat. So, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
This is our little bird, a small roaster, right?
All right, my friend.
By the way, you can do this same thing on your Thanksgiving turkey. You can do it on the little Cornish game hen. Do it on anything, really. So this is not a huge bird, but one of the easiest ways. By the way, you can do this with a knife. You can cut the spine out with a knife. I like using a nice pair of kitchen shears. These are Big Green Eggs. I will give you a pro tip. Don't use your wife's best scissors. Made that mistake once. Just once.
A lot safer that way too.
So, we're gonna go breast down, right? We got the spine. You can usually see where the spine is by the little
booty meat.
Booty meat. I mean, that's a technical term. All right.
We always called it the poker.
So basically what you're gonna do, whether you use a chef's knife or shears, you're just gonna cut on the other side of that spine.
And a great thing to mention also, the holidays are coming up. If you've never had a spatchcock turkey on the egg, one of the best, if not best, turkeys you'll ever have. It cuts the cooking time down in half,
Yep.
you know, essentially. Gets it nice and crispy and it's still juicy because nobody wants a dry turkey. Come on.
And by the way, it makes it much easier to carve at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
I think most of us have moved on from the old school, you know, turkey carving where you
Yes.
bring out the big bird and mom or dad kind of cuts the slices off.
Yeah.
You just end up having so much waste with
Exactly.
that. Spatchcock, once we're done, we can quarter these things easily. So if you're cooking a bunch for a party, 2 cuts and you're quartering this thing out, but it's very easy to get to the different parts of the bird when you spatchcock as well.
100%. The last thing you want to do is be laboring over the grill, laboring over the kitchen stove the entire day. So it cuts that into a fraction of the time, gives you more time for family, drinking, and socializing.
And football.
And football.
Yeah.
And football, exactly.
Did we say drinking?
Drinking.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I said. Drinking,
Okay.
yeah. That's a given. You
Not
know?
necessarily in that order, but
You know?
all right. So
Looking beautiful.
the other thing that you want to do, by the way, whether we're talking turkey or chicken, is when you open it up, you want to make sure that little package inside. Here's the other nice reason to do a turkey this way. You don't forget to leave the little package of giblets in there when you cook your turkey. I see a lot of people laughing. I know you did it. I've done it too.
Yeah.
All right, there's our spine. And by the way, don't throw this away. It makes great stock.
Yes.
Right? So if you get a chicken or a turkey with some giblets in it, keep that, make stock. It's beautiful.
Yeah, what I do as a chef, I keep the spines, the backs, and also the wingtips. Makes a really flavorful stock. There's a little bit of onion, celery, carrots, and water. Let that cook low and slow for 6 to 8 hours. Really, really tasty. Tastes better than store-bought.
You will
It's
never
better
buy
for you.
store-bought
Never buy
stock
store-bought
again.
again. Yeah.
No. All right, so that's what our inside of the chicken looks like once we spatchcocked it. Now we gotta do one more thing, and this, if you're in a bad mood, the kids are bugging you, whatever, people are making fun of you because you're tall and green hair, what you wanna do is you wanna flip that over. We're gonna flatten it out a little bit more. Just put one hand down right on the middle of the spine,
Yeah.
give it a little crack.
There you go. Y'all
Hear
hear
that
that?
crack?
That's that
All right,
crack.
up front, hear that crack.
It's like the chicken's getting adjusted.
So now we got a nice spatchcock chicken.
Beautiful.
When you open it up, by the way, you can always clean it up a little bit. Grab your paring knife. You can get rid of all the little dangly pieces of fat that are just not going to look good. It's not going to render out.
Exactly.
So anything in there that just looks unappetizing, go ahead and trim that out a little bit.
Beautiful. See that?
We're looking good?
Looking great.
Okay. All right. This is, guys, by the way, this is super simple, right? This is not, who was here for Dark Side with Mel's pork loin? We got a few people that were here.
If you missed it, it was amazing.
Amazing.
So good.
And I usually, listen, Mel's my boy. I usually have it written in my contract
Yeah.
that I don't follow Mel because he's great.
Yeah.
But that pork loin, even as simple as that was, butterfly and everything, this thing is much more simple.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's your spatchcock chicken.
What do you want to season it with?
We're gonna season it, and I got a couple that are already done that we'll do some tasting. But I like using Big Green Egg Sweet and Smoky, and also the ancho chili and coffee is one of my favorites. So we're gonna finish this with a little ancho chili. Now, just like anything, make sure you are getting your meat well seasoned.
And I love that you're showing them. You want to season all over, 360, top, bottom, underside, because you want every bite to be as delicious as the previous bite. So don't be shocked. It's a pretty big bird, takes a good amount of seasoning.
You get the little armpits of the bird, the drums. Listen, there are many ways you can do this, even spatchcock. You can get up underneath the skin,
Yes.
a little butter in there, you can inject it, all that stuff. I'm telling you, keep it simple. Most of the time, you don't really need all that. This will be a juicy bird with a ton of flavor without having, now what I do, let me step back for a second. One thing that I like to do, well, literally
Go
step
step
back.
back. Okay. All right. Continue.
One thing that I like to do though is if I'm cooking a bird, I know it ahead of time, I do like to do a little overnight dry brine. And so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and spatchcock it the night before. I'll hit it with some kosher salt, okay?
Keyword kosher salt.
Keyword kosher salt.
No iodized nonsense.
No.
You mean this?
Yep.
That right there.
Lots of kosher salt. Keep that. This guys is, by the way, why you don't use salted butter, right? You want to salt to where you want it, right? Use salted butter. It's kind of hard to manage the salt level. Find yourself getting a really salty product.
You could always add salt, but you can't take it out.
Can't take it out. So the night before, I like to, again, do a little dry brine, get some salt on that. That'll help start pulling the moisture out. That'll really crisp up that skin. And basically, again, all you're doing is spatchcocking it, hit it both sides with kosher salt, put it on a little rack on a sheet pan, uncovered in your fridge. You have a garage fridge, whatever. Put it in there overnight. When you pull it out the next day, you'll see that it's turned a little bit darker, and that's exactly what you want. It's gonna give you a nice crispy skin. By the way, you can do that with wings. Love doing that with wings. If you're looking to try to get crispy wing on your big green egg or any smoker, give it a little dry brine the night before, dry it out in the fridge, and it'll make a world of difference.
Yeah. And that salt is drawing all that moisture out of that skin and making it drier, so it's crispy. Crispy chicken skin. You're all about crispy chicken skin.
So again, this guy is ready to go on the smoker. Now we're gonna smoke this at about 375 indirect, so we're gonna have our plate setter in there. You can put wood chips, wood chunks, whatever you want to do. If you go with some smoking wood, maybe something, if we're talking about poultry, something a little bit lighter type of smoke, right? Apple wood, peach. Don't go to your mesquites. I mean, unless you're dying for a ton of smoke. This will take a lot of applewood smoke. Cherry wood is kind of right up. I love cherry wood on these guys.
Pecan would be nice
Pecan or pecan?
That we had a little debate. The consensus from the last group was pecan, but I'm gonna do every single class as a test subject. So who says pecan? Pecan? Okay. Okay, pecan, okay. Who says a pecan? I think pecan wins again, bro. All right, pecan, okay. So pecan, it sounds fancier, right? Instead of, let me get the pecan pie, let me have the pecan pie. Okay, all right. Pecan it is. Okay, carry on.
All right. So what was we're in Georgia, right?
We are in Georgia.
I know what the proper answer is.
We are in Georgia. What's the proper answer in your opinion, C-Mac?
So I'm a California born and raised, now living in Massachusetts, so I'm all screwed up. So you tell me what, pecan? Pecan. Pecan. See? Yeah, we're still. All right, so one other thing. That's true. One other thing, when you put it on, one of the other things I like to do is tuck the wings, so we're going basically breast side up, right cavity side down. Take the wings and tuck them in. And basically what that's going to let it do, again, be a little bit more aerodynamic, and those wing tips, unless you cut them off already, which some people like to, I don't care, fold them under there, and they're going to have less propensity to burn, all right? So that's our chicken. We got it about 350, 375. We're going to put that guy in there.
And you said something also very important. You're doing indirect, which is super key with poultry. Tell them why.
So, I mean, honestly, you could do it either way, right? I love cooking poultry indirect just because it allows that bird to be a lot more juicy, right? You're essentially going low and slow. I know we're not going 270 or 250, 225, which frankly, even with beef, not a whole lot of people are doing that anymore. But it allows, just like if you're cooking a steak, right? It allows that even cooking, allows that smoke and the heat to penetrate. And it just comes out with a much more juicy bird than if you're doing it hot. Sometimes if you're doing it hot and fast, if you want to do it hot and fast, raise it up in the dome a little bit, right? Get the expander, because if it's too close to the charcoal, the fuel source, you're going to get that cavity of the bird burnt before everything's up to temp.
Yep, especially if you have a lot of sugar in your
Oh yeah.
seasoning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. And with that, also, if you're doing multiple birds or wings, by the time you flip that last wing or bird, it's gonna be burnt. So it gives you easier control of the heat and makes you less stressed about checking it every second because it's indirect.
Yeah,
Greg, you
yeah.
said breast down?
So I go breast up. So I go cavity down, breast up. Yeah.
How long?
So how long? Somebody said how long? Probably
Looks like this.
these guys. So we just did 3 on. That's a finished product right there. We did 3 on a large.
Yeah.
Same grade level. Took less than an hour and a half.
Yeah.